Good afternoon, Planet Earth GAPE-TV. And now for the show.
Welcome to Good Afternoon Planet Earth, everybody. GAPE-TV. Today's episode is special. By the way, Dominic is probably still sleeping. Dominic might or may not come on. So we're waiting for you, Dom. Rise and shine, eggs and bacon. Today we have a special guest, Bret Raybould.
Thank you for putting on the excitement affectation.
Bret has a comedy special coming out today, November 23rd. It's called Bret Raybould Retires from Comedy.
That's right.
And that's so exciting. Like, what inspired you to do this?
Well, yeah, so I had been working the road a lot, and I felt like I had an hour. And, I'm the type of person that I like to think I try not to wait around for opportunities. And I think it's more important to just make stuff and try and make your own opportunities. And I had an hour that I was proud of. And I had an idea for a specific show, for a specific bit for this special. And one of the things I'm really proud of about this special is it's a mix of the stand-up I had worked out over, many, many years of being on this road. And then it was also, you disappear, by the way, Amy?
All right.
Sorry. I didn't know if I was boring you. You're like, I'm out. Damn, girl, give me a second to finish the answer. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. We can't even blame Mercury in retrograde or a full moon or whatever. But actually, So you were on tour and you had like a bunch of material.
Yeah. And so I thought it was, pretty ready. I kind of think as a younger comic, and maybe in general, you never know when you're like ready, and you might as well do it. And when you're ready enough. And like I said, it is called Bret Raybould Retires from Comedy. It was the last show I ever did up to that point. I've since unretired, which you can learn why about in the special. Only stand-up special with a spoiler alert. Go to my YouTube, watch it. It should be up. I'm pretty damn proud of the thing.
That's so cool. I love the whole Netflix thing. That's so great.
Such a dumb joke.
I love it.
I'm calling it a 1 hour Netflix special.
What was the production like? So, as creators, I find that the business aspect and the whole production, like I love writing, brainstorming, but for the technical stuff, it's like, oh, wow, whoa, where do we start from here? I'm learning about project management.
Right.
And that seems to be, it's like, why didn't every comedian needs to know a little bit about project management, like a notch above a to-do list, because we can't just be a comedian. We have to be producers. So how did you go from beginning, middle to end, from the idea of conception to making it?
Yeah, one of the things I was super lucky about is I have a good friend of mine by the name of Connor Thompson. He is a great filmmaker. And one thing that allowed me to just focus on like the comedy and the bit of the special was he was handling all the production. He has, he's a filmmaker. Yeah, so he has, he knows sound guys, he knows camera operators, and he knows where to rent equipment.
Right.
And straight up, without him, I wouldn't have been able to make this because I would have had no idea how to go about filming it and stuff. And so, but fortunately, because of him, he was able to rent the cameras, and I paid for it out of pocket. I paid for my own money, so just kind of gambling on myself there. But without him, wouldn't have been possible. So like any comedian wants to do a similar thing and be like, have someone who knows how the hell to do it. Because like you said, this is an era where we have to do everything. It's not enough to just be a stand-up comic. You have to promote yourself. You have to know how to podcast. You have to know how to write sketches. You have to like be online incessantly, insufferably so.
My God, I know my brain is like fried from just staring at screens. I got my blue blocker glasses on. But there's this whole SEO thing I'm learning.
Oh my God, right? You're like, in what world does a comic have to be an expert in SEO?
It's so annoying. I feel that being a comedian, we should just get our masters. It qualifies as a master's in digital marketing these days, because with the algorithm, it's not catered towards everybody. That's the thing. It could get you in your head. Like, your content could be awesome, but if the algorithm isn't in your favor and it's pushing people that are feeding the algorithm, like, engagement, 90 posts a day, that's it. You feed the beast and it spits out the beast.
That's the thing that's tough, is it's like the content churn, and not to use a pretentious word, but if you're like a person who wants to be more of an artist, or at least trying to make stuff that's really a cut above, sometimes the nature of the content churn disincentivizes not posting all the time. And you're like, that's not natural though. We're not meant to, I don't have that much that I think is compelling or interesting to share. And no one does. It's just some people are able to get past that like fear of not making content. And you're like, that's not the point of it all. Isn't content. The point of it all is stuff you're proud of.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's a whole different formula for, TikTok. Like, if you invest your time in TikTok, you're making 15-second things that won't apply to comedy, or I've seen some comedians do really well doing one-liner jokes, which is a great exercise on TikTok. But it's just also, it makes me wonder the taste that this stuff is coming, because like lip syncing, I have a lot of respect for, the successful lip singers, but
I don't.
I know, I'm trying to say that without offending. I think Sarah Cooper is great. I think Sarah Cooper, she has some art to it, but aside from her, the ones that are getting successful, viral off lip syncing, I'm just like, why? And I never even thought, like, my taste was like, why would I do that?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. And that's like I am on TikTok, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. And it is like, I think it's important if you do whatever you want. But for me, it's like, I'm not going to, and I'm going to use this word, do something that I don't at the very least think is my attempt at being funny. So like lip syncing, honestly, I'll be honest, I think it's kind of lame. I understand the necessary requirements of needing to feed the beast. So I'm not going to knock anyone for feeding the beast, but I think it's lame. And I think it's weird that articles are like lip sync comedian. I'm like, what is that? You know what a comedian is to me? Someone who writes. Write. I don't know.
And perform.
It's insane.
Yes. Oh my God. I know. It makes me think of that Mitch Hedberg joke where he talks about, he wants to be a comedian and they're like, can you write screenplays? And it's just like, can't we master one craft?
Mm-hmm. And that was something, Amy, that like I actually have been a person who's wanted to write a script for a decade. And I actually finally completed one over the pandemic. And I joke it took the world ending and shutting down for me to finish one.
That's awesome. Do you know about Ron Howard? Look up Ron Howard Netflix. They have contests.
Really?
Yeah, where you could submit. Because I was going to start writing a screenplay, but the deadline, like I was gonna, we're just like we're doing everything, and I'm like, all right, let me just put stuff on pause and get this screenplay in 4 days, and I'm like, I gotta stop. But it does work. That's the thing. It works the same side of the brain. a little bit as comedy. But SEO and algorithm, it's like, guys, why?
Isn't it dehumanizing? The internet it's especially this era. I think the internet a decade ago or a decade and plus ago was like a really cool place for random self-expression. And I think now everything is so algorithmic, everything is so numeric based. It's weird that there's always a number attached to your value online.
Yeah.
This person is worth 300 likes. Well, that's not as much as this person who was worth 2,000. Or, views are now a barometer of quality. And it's like, it's just really hard to find people. But I refuse to believe that the views have anything to do necessarily with the quality.
Yeah.
There are some of my friends' stand-up clips who are just some of the funniest things you're going to see. And just because it might have 200 views, like 100 views, which in the grand scheme of views is not a lot. And then when you kind of think about it, it is like, if you imagine performing for 100 people, you're like, oh, it's pretty cool. So you do try and
true.
You're like, oh, even 100 views is like, imagine performing for 100 people. That's pretty cool. So, that's how I sometimes try and angle it when it is an internet low amount. It's like, well, if I was in a room doing stand up for 200 people, I'd be happy with that.
I really like that because it social media can help us, but also, it's frustrating in the sense that we were talking, but if we can crack the code, it's totally helpful, but also it's like, 100 views for like 100 people in an audience. I like the way of changing the way you perceive that the low views or whatever.
Sure. Yeah. And from my, emotional where I'm at is like, there's like, I've turned down a few offers I had from distributors.
Wow.
They weren't great offers, speaking honestly, like financially, but they were offers. And every older comic I talked to, and even crazy well-established ones that I listened to on podcasts, kind of talked about the value of owning your own stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm a person who believes in the long arc of my career. And if I believe in the long arc of my career, this is going to be worth something. And I kind of felt like, listen, I'm going to work my balls off to promote it. I don't think they are. So why not just own it? And, if it doesn't get the visibility in my, hopes and dreams that we'll get, in some sense, it's to be expected because it's like I don't have a big foundation of fan base. But on the other, at least I did it my way.
Yes.
On my stuff.
Frank Sinatra. I love it. No, and that's true. It really is. Like, look at Quibi and CISO. They, they just win. These companies, that there's so much need for mass content. It's like, who knows the future of that? But the future of it in your hands. Put it on, YouTube, Vimeo. Like, if YouTube shuts down, you got it on Vimeo, or I don't know. And then there's the thought of you're dividing up your views by having it. God.
Right. Yeah, I know, right? This is the crap we think of.
Right. I know. I'm like, should I do IGTV plus YouTube? And then I'm like, I'm dividing my views. And then
IGTV plus. And now there's IG Reels.
Yes.
And then a week they're going to do, okay, we're doing IG frames now. You're like, what is all of this? Seriously, what does it mean?
It's like they should all just collab and form together. I don't know. There's going to be Instagram tweets probably before we know it, because now they got the tweet fleets.
What's the tweet fleets?
So a fleet, it goes away after 24 hours.
Wow, make all of my tweets do that.
That's what I was thinking. Any tweet that gets 0 likes, just turn it into a fleet, because it's embarrassing. That's another thing. Twitter, I don't engage. I just post. And then, of course, it gets very little likes. And then you're like, okay, is this lame? And no, I guess, who knows?
It's not. What it is there's just different congregations of people. And I'm not on Twitter. And so whenever I post, it doesn't do well. And that doesn't matter. Like, it's just not my people. I haven't engaged with the platform or with people on it. So when I post, like, they're not going to engage back, and whatever, who gives a shit?
So true. I know.
I wrote a hit record, Amy. That's what I tell myself when I go to sleep.
Yes. No, that must feel awesome knowing you completed,
Finish it.
Yes, just doing something beginning, middle, end. It builds character because the grit, there's probably so much grit that you had. Did you have any obstacles making your special?
There's a wardrobe change in it. That's where the spoiler
On
comes.
the stage?
We'll have to see.
Oh, I'm excited.
I tell people this is how I advertise it. You ready? It's the only stand-up special with a spoiler. It's the only stand-up special with a wardrobe change, and it's the only stand-up special with a retirement announcement. Tune in. Bret Raybould retires from comedy. The comedy tragedy of the year.
That is full. That's like a dream for a journalist and a PR team. Like, there's so many angles. Yes.
But as far as obstacles, I mean, there were no major ones. Stand Up New York is very kind. There was a moment where I had my show scheduled for, I think it was Thursday night, and and then it didn't happen. Then John, the booker at Stand Up New York, texted me, "Hey man, we just got like we booked for this thing. Can we move you to like next Monday or something?" And it was the Monday before Thanksgiving, and I was like, people are going to be getting out of town, and I was bummed, and I was like, is there any other spots? And I massively will forever be appreciative. He was like, you know what, why don't you just take Saturday night? Ooh, and so like time. That's, yeah, honestly. So I was just very appreciative, and that's obviously, I sold the venue out, and that would have been the big obstacle. I don't even know how. I don't have like a following in New York City. But I was lucky enough to have the Saturday night slot, and it was a pretty fun show. I'm proud of the special because most specials are, here's the stand-up best version of the bits I've worked on for forever. And I have that, but then I also have the one night affair aspect. That's there stuff I did at this show that I had never done before at any other show, and I'll never do again. And it's not shitty improv. It's a planned bit. Yeah.
Did you do it all in one take, or did you have two performances?
So that's kind of what's kind of fun and scary. Is like, I don't have the budget for a second freaking show. So it's like, this is the one show. I got to get the best version of every bit I can. And I think we captured it. It was a really great, lively crowd. There was like a magic in the air. And I'm just excited for people. I'm plumb proud of it.
Oh my God, that's so cool. Did your brother like open or like?
Yeah, I had 3 comedians open. Yes, I had Catherine Henson. Do you know Catherine?
I don't. I feel like I've heard her name though.
She is hilarious. She's very raunchy, but in the best way possible. And it's kind of awesome having her host because she makes audiences go, well, we better get rid of any like preconceived discomfort or whatever at the door. So she hosted, and then I had my buddy Andre Thompson. He did a guest spot, and then my brother Jordan did a guest spot, and then he brought me up.
Aww.
And then I did an hour of stand-up, and then 15 minutes of other stuff you'll have to see in the special.
Look who joined in.
Oh, wow. Is Dom here?
Yo, I'm so sorry, man. How y'all doing?
Hey, man. Thanks for doing your hair, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Actually, this is. Hey, last week I was on time for our podcast, Brett.
Hey, Dom Ross. That's the nickname you had to have been called before, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Dom. He does these Dom Ross videos, actually.
I love it, man. You work that shit.
Yeah, dude. You look great, man.
Hey, man, I've been running a lot. I've been, getting my fitness in. I'm happy to see you too.
Dude, I'm sorry I'm late. Do you realize how excited I was for this podcast? I couldn't even sleep. Look at my face. I literally just woke up. Look at my face.
Hey, man. Rough night last night. What happened?
I really couldn't sleep, man. You're like you're our first guest, dude.
Wow. I'm honored. You were so excited. You just stayed up all night like it was Christmas. You're like, oh my God, Brett, it's Brett.
I was up till 7 a.m. Dude, I used to come watch you at the creek back in the day, man. I'm excited to have you on.
We all watched each other at the creek. Wow. R.I.P., huh?
Yeah, man, that is right. R.I.P. I'm serious, man. I never watch comics, man. And I'm not blowing smoke up to you, man. I really enjoy your stand-up, man. And your ad-libs.
Seriously.
Oh, it's very sweet to say. Yeah. You know, and likewise to both of you. It's pretty cool. People I've met, like, dude, when you guys think of how long we've known each other, like I met you at Mike's 6 years ago, like 5 years. It's actually a while when you log it.
You're right. I don't remember which Mike exactly, but I remember, Brett, when I met you, I was like, he's just got a great like vibe about him, you know, like it's you always remember the people that just acknowledge and say hi, you know, because in comedy it's like, just say hi, guys. Can you just give a head nod, you know? It's not, you know, instead of being like arms crossed, like,
hey, that's my thing. Terrible comedian, but at least I say hi, right?
No, but I mean, of course your material, but I'm just saying, like,
no, I know what you mean.
Treating people nice, people will remember that. That's like huge.
I'm gonna cite my favorite, my favorite Maya Angelou quote, and which is, "You're never gonna remember the things people say, but you're always gonna remember how they made you feel." Yes. And that's actually, when you think about like friendships or relationships, that is stunningly accurate. You don't really remember everything, every quote someone says, but you do remember, like, generally, like, that was a nice person. That was a good person.
So true.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
100%.
Comics, comedy, it's like, it's all very cynical, and there's just like, especially now reflecting on the pandemic, the most pointless amount of like non-friendliness ever. Like anyone who is like competitive about this shit, it's like, just get over it, dude. This shit don't matter.
Right.
Yes, and there's
it took you a while, Dom? How do you mean?
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say in the beginning, I used to be competitive. Like I sucked so bad when I started. After about 3 years, when I finally got a laugh, it went to my head, and I just went. I had one good joke, and I had the biggest ego for like 2 years. It took me a while to learn. I had to become good myself. Like I had to become decent myself before I could be normal to other people.
I think it relates to like a little more self-confidence can sometimes lead to you, like, maybe like coldness or indifference or rudeness. Probably just generally it's just insecurity. Yeah.
All around in life. My whole life was in shambles till I started to understand stand-up a little bit.
Really?
I feel like that. Yeah, like everything.
Your hair still is.
Yeah. Well, now this is
got him, Amy.
Order.
Yeah. Now your life's in order and your hair's crazy.
Yeah.
That's your mood ring.
Yeah,
I know when your hair's crazy, I'm like, I'm glad to see you're doing well, buddy.
Yeah.
How do you mean? Go on that. Like you
like with girls, like I wouldn't even talk to girls really that much. I just had to start to be a little bit better at stand-up. I didn't even really concern with how I dressed or anything. Like, you know, truthfully, my father was even getting a little worried because I went like 5 years without even going on a date with a girl. I just figured, why would a girl date me? I don't know. Man. I just had to get good at stand. I was so bad though, dude. If you watch some of my tapes from the beginning, I really believe people can get better because, dude, some of my shit from 3-4 years in, bro. I mean, I was a slow learner
good
too.
3-4 years though, but I've seen people in 2 years get really good. But
I have, I've seen a lot of people in my class blow right past me, and then you see them like, damn, how'd they figure this out, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, it relates to like what's your class? What do you mean your class? Like just people you started with?
I'd say we were in the class. I'd say we were in a class together, right? But even though
I would think we started doing mics at the same amount of time.
See, I really started in Ohio, and I kind of wasted 5 years and did stand up like 5 times a year, 7 times a year, you know? And then I finally moved to New York after already doing that for 6.5 years. And then I thought I was a headliner there, and I came here and realized none of those jokes work, and then
That's funny.
yeah, I don't know. There was just certain people you'd see them all of a sudden they start killing to a level that I was never able to. Or even with jokes, like it took me a real long time to. I used to overthink jokes too much. I think that was one of my biggest problems. I was trying to figure out some math
Same.
problem why the joke would work. Like 7 times 4 equals a laugh.
Yes.
With
There is
100%.
something like a puzzle though. But yeah, it took me a while to figure out how to write a joke. Like I would write and write, and I had a perfectionist thing, and I would be like, this isn't funny. This isn't funny. And it's hard to find your voice, It's like all my stuff is still embarrassing to me. I still gotta I don't know, like I finally learned how to write a setup punch joke, but I think I have a problem. I like to generate new material. I get bored instead of tinkering and making it good and building it. I just love writing new stuff. So I think there's different phases of getting your writing good.
But to me, that's like the hard art of stand-up. I actually think writing stuff that's like pretty good isn't that hard. I'm not saying that with like ego or like cockiness. I think it's like writing stuff that's like solid isn't that hard. The hard part is like the tinkering where we try and get it, like really keep like thinking on it, performing it, beating it out, trying to perfect the expression of it. That to me is like really where the sausage is made with developing a bit.
Yes,
100%.
getting a joke and making it a chunk, like a nice bit, and then structuring your other jokes, making it's something else.
Like there are bits where like, it's fun to reflect on. Like there's a bit in my special, it's a 6-minute story. It started as an 80-second thing, and like it's cool to like reflect on like, wow, that started as just one laugh, and then now it's like this whole big long thing that has big pops throughout. And it wouldn't have gotten there if I had said it was done, or if I had given up on it and been like, this is not good enough because it's just one laugh.
How long did you work on that for?
I mean, that would have been a bit that would have been just like, a year or two. And
people don't understand.
People don't understand. Like it's not, at least for me, it's very rarely right. Think of it, and now it's good, done. Like it's, some people can write that way where it's like they wrote it and it's good, but for me, it's sloppier. I don't know. It's a messier process.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely a just repeat. Like I'll have the joke, and I may say the joke for a year and a half, and then I'll change the punchline. They'll actually work.
Right.
Yeah. And it's just also like, it's a matter of like trusting your gut, but also trusting the audience, but also not putting too much stock into every performance of the joke, but also having every performance of the joke calibrate into how you feel about it. It's freaking it's a mind F sometimes, man.
Yeah. It's something you really, you can't make it sound simple. It's like when you put this into, I was telling my brother about it. He's trying to figure out, well, if you wrote one joke, it took you 2 months to make that joke, then in a year you could have this many jokes. I'm like, dude, sometimes I'll just be laying down and a joke will hit me, or in the middle of life, I'll be with my friends and I'll be like, oh shit, that's a joke. And then I'll start to work on it. And then it might become a real, like you're saying it, then it might have legs and become a bit. It might stay the way it is. I have some jokes that I told for 5 years, and then something I changed them for some reason, and they work better,
Yeah. I also think like stuff that you might have written earlier on, like I can look at stuff I wrote earlier on and I can go, it's there, but it's not my natural conversational / performance voice. Yes. Like it's written like I'm a little bit trying to find the math of it. And that's why you talk about like thinking that it's so scientific. I used to think it was, and I think it's stand-up's this weird mix of like art plus math, but I think erring on the side of art
and magic.
Art,
math, magic.
But like the when you're a less confident comic, you think, okay, if I say the words in this order, it will then lead to this response.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's like feel the room and have some semblance of feeling present. And that was like one of my hardest challenges has always been like, the fear of not getting laughed leads to me not being present, and me not being present is what leads to me looking stilted, stiff, and like a fucking joke bot.
Yeah.
Same. I go off the rails. If I look and nobody's laughing, I just like I go desperate to make them laugh. And I go off the book, throw away everything, and just go off the rails. And it's like, oh God, that was so not disciplined. And I guess you can learn from both, though, going off the rails and sticking to the book.
Well, like a great act enables you to be more present because you're like, well, if I'm doing some crowd work that's not really hitting, if I have some bits that I'm pretty confident in, then, well, that'll make you feel like you can be loose. Being tight enables looseness. It's like this is bizarre.
And also just having fun. Like sometimes I'll be up there and I forgot to have fun because I'm like my objective is to get them to laugh instead of objective. Hey, have fun. Like I wouldn't want to hang out with me if I was so desperate. Like me on stage, desperate. It's like I wouldn't want to hang out with me. Like why would they want to listen to me while they're buzzed? It's probably killing their buzz,
I don't know what that. I don't know what that like shield is, the clarity that you're talking about. Like when you first, like I know every time I got on stage for the longest, it's like I would see the audience. I would see them there, but I wouldn't really be aware of everything. And then I slowly got more and more clear the more I went up. And I remember going up there and just being completely clueless, like saying stuff and then coming out and not figuring out why it didn't work. But then when you look, like you're saying, present, when you're not in the moment, it's like people could feel that if you're just reciting stuff and they're not even there to you. It's like they could feel that.
Yeah, you might as well just, watch a video because it's like live. Comedy is live. You can touch me, like I see you shoving your face with those fried chicken tenders.
Yeah, it used to be
something else when you're up there and you see people just like.
Yeah, really. That's how Caroline's is. They're right there just dipping in the ketchup.
That's the thing. That's the thing. No matter how good someone's act is, no matter how funny any headliner is, you're never going to compete with a basket of chicken wings.
Seriously.
It's just how it is, man. If someone is hungry, if they're hungry, I don't give a fuck if Dave Chappelle is on stage. That person will probably just be like, got to get this in first before I listen to.
Yes.
And this is America. They don't even got to be hungry. They're eating.
Yeah.
I used to not even look at the audience. Did you ever go through that? I don't know what my damn problem. I'd look at them 1 second and throw my whole shit off. I'd be mess everything up. Yeah, I couldn't look at them.
I try and make a comfortable amount of eye contact, both on stage and on dates.
Yeah.
A comfortable amount. All right, look away.
Do you guys? Oh, do you guys get in your head though if you make eye contact and someone isn't laughing? Like, what's going on in your head when that happens?
I think a better version of it is to just, depending on the show, but if it's going well, just like let them be.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't got to puppet everybody. Like, you must laugh.
I agree. That was my biggest.
Like, maybe they have heartburn. Maybe they can't laugh because they're in pain from heartburn. It's just like, don't fight a battle that doesn't need to be.
I had this guy come up to me after the show once. I did this hilarious biggest show I did, like the theater. I don't know if you've ever been there. Somebody didn't show up. I was nowhere near ready for the spot probably, but I got to go up And I did good though. It's such a big theater, but I remember in the front row, there was this guy the whole time just,
Yep.
and then afterwards I was like, dude, what is it? Like, what about me did you hate so bad? What didn't you like? And then his wife told me his jaw's wired shut. And it's like, why would you go to a damn comedy show? Your jaw's wired shut.
He still likes to laugh.
Right? He laughs inside.
He likes to laugh too, man. You can still laugh. One show, I was hosting at Mohegan Sun Comics.
Yeah.
And I was hosting for Jessica Kirsten. And so opening spot, I come out, it's a good crowd, having a good set. But there's one guy in the front row who's just blank faced, like every joke, nothing. All right, I do my spot. Next comic goes up, and I forget who it was, but we're talking backstage, and he goes, dude, he was, did you say guy in the front? He was giving me nothing. I was like, yeah, right. Jessica goes up. Jessica's killing. And at one point during her set, like halfway through, she goes, you all right, buddy? And like, it's a thing. And then she just keeps going, whatever. And then I'm at the bar after the show. I'm just standing there, and I get a tap on my shoulder, and I turn, and it's the guy. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Like, what did I say that bothered him? Because he just gave me stone face the entire time. And he goes, hey man, I just want to say I'm not a very expressive person, but I liked your style up there.
Oh, wow.
And then in my head, I'm like, man, I was an asshole for judging this guy for not like guffawing and giving me,
Yeah.
Some people just express their happiness and the look doesn't come across.
So true.
Right.
And sometimes just listening too, like that's fine. That's good if they're listening, they're interested.
Yeah.
Was it the Mohegan in the casino or when they moved it? Dude, casino itself, any casino gig is hard, though. I mean,
they're hard, man. They're hard.
They're
hard, bro.
It's probably everybody who got like free vouchers, so they're there just to like experience something other than gambling.
Yeah, and they probably have lost money, and they're gonna take their bad afternoon out on this comic. It's they're not always the best crowds.
Yeah, casino would be happy if you walk the crowd because they want them to go gamble some more.
Wow.
They don't want the damn show.
You know what I mean? Accomplished on my end.
Yeah. Hey, kid, can you do that every night?
I'm trying. That's very funny, man.
That's great.
What have you been keeping yourself busy with, both of you, huh? How's your pandemics going?
Mine's going pretty good. I've been learning computer and editing. And luckily, through this podcast, taught me how to edit. I got Adobe. I'm starting to really get deep with it. And just that, man, I had a little moving job to help ends meet a little bit. And then, now I'm just kind of laying low, been doing some outside stand-up. I got a little thing, man, if you wanted. I got this little thing. Are you in New York?
Yeah, I got back November 1st, actually.
I got this little thing. I don't really book it, but I could always sneak one or two people through. But your brother's always through there. I'm surprised he didn't tell you about it. But I don't know. He's a little bit more structured of a person. This is a wild show. So it's at LOL's. It's a show, but there's no rules. People are just going up. So maybe that's why he doesn't do it as much. It's not the best show, but I like it because it's something. And I feel like it's like training with ankle weights on, basically. So we were doing it outside. Did he ever tell you about it? He did it a couple of times.
Is it the show in Times Square, right?
Yeah.
He's mentioned it. Yeah, he's mentioned that he like anything. It's like any of these shows. It's like, are they stand up? Not fully, but it's the best we can do. You know what I mean? It's like, I wish we could go back to doing stand up in a basement, packed crowd or whatever. It's not that they were all that for me before, but you know what I mean.
Well, we started. No, we moved it into the theater now, so it's at least.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but that was.
Are there
like
social distancing things? Are they being good with all that?
Just with the tables, not every single person, because say a group comes in at 5, we put them at a table, and then the tables are 6 feet apart. Like everything's the rules. we're nowhere near capacity, but I think they just changed it to where it's 10 people now, but it doesn't matter. Every show we only get 5 to 7 people.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, playing a spread out crowd is very difficult, you know.
Sure. Oh yeah. When anytime the laughs aren't centralized, it makes it it makes it more difficult.
It's like they're doing the wave with laughter, you know, like ha, 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 like it'll travel.
And they go away. And when there's not a lot of people, it's like, okay, but the challenge is like, you know, let's say you got a crowd of 50, you have a punchline that like a half punchline, like a setup kind of joke that gets 20% of people laugh. If there's 50 people, 10 people still feels like something.
Yeah.
But like 20% in a 10-person room, that's a person, or that's like 2 people. So they just don't carry. But like, I mean, you know what it is. It's you do a show and it's the best we can do.
Yeah, I really learned about the whole numbers thing. I never played big audiences ever, except for the Norm MacDonald weekend. When I was just starting out, when I was just starting out, I did the hilarities thing, like 300 people. And I remember like, oh, that's a lot. But I was just starting out. I only had 3 jokes. And it was only a 5-minute set. But I wasn't aware to listen to the laughter that much. I was surprised I was getting anything. But when you get those big audiences, like I had Norm for 8 shows, 330 a show. There's 330 people at every show. They wouldn't let one more person that didn't care lines. And that's what the max was every night, 8 nights. You get to really hear what jokes work percentage-wise. Like it's so much different to play a theater versus a small room. If you play Old Man Hustle, you could kill with 3 jokes and 4 people. But then some of those jokes might only make 10% of the audience laugh at 300. Then you're like, damn, I'm only getting, 40 people out of 300 laughing. This joke sucks, you know?
How did it feel to do that, man? I mean, first off, opening for Norm, one of the all-time greats.
Yes.
It was life-changing.
Like? Yeah.
It was life-changing. And to be honest with you, I got to learn to not be so starstruck because to me, it's like that's one of the best joke writers alive in my book, hands down. One of the all-around best comedians ever. Improv, all that. Like, and I'm not just saying that because I opened for him before that.
No, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to sit with him a little bit, I was so in awe. I didn't really get to take advantage of it, man. I was like, I sat with him every night. We hung out, we talked. I just listened to him talk all the time. But I couldn't really think of anything I wanted to ask him. But now if I were to go back, I'd want to be like, tell me more about Rodney or Sam Kinison or he drops so much knowledge on comics, man, like the whole time, and he's just so cool and such a hard worker. It's really the dude really looks at his jokes hard before he goes up. He's prepared, everything's planned. He may go off his set a lot, but you could tell he has a plan.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was just gonna say some of the knowledge that he drops is like really makes you like, oh wow, that is right. Like about like how so many young comics take so many liberties. Like Rodney used to say that you should never make it look like anybody could do this. Some of these young comics will go up there and take all these liberties with the audience, and that's something I used to do too.
Right, liberties in the sense of like going off the book and kind of
just going off the book, I guess, just all
doing
around
all
liberties.
crowd work. Like crowd work done right is respectable, but some people just go right into crowd work instead of material. Is
trying too much new stuff, I think. Trying way too much new stuff and not really planning it beforehand or going over it or really writing it out and making sure you have something. Now, to be honest with you, I think that has a now he says that takes too many liberties, but that should be more or less with the big audience. Me personally, I grew so much from always improving. Like I basically was an improv comic with like 5 jokes, and that's how I wrote most of my material. I don't have notebooks where I write jokes, so I don't know. So it's like tough to say, but I would say definitely on important shows, I'm now more prepared.
Right. Yeah. It makes I mean, it makes sense why he says that. And I think when, I was fortunate to be a professional comic because I was just getting on the road. And I do think when people have paid tickets, it does give you a sense of like, all right, I owe them now. Like it does make you want to do a more of a service-wise good job because people are spending their money and their time. And sometimes I think some people, maybe in New York and I'm sure other cities too, but it's like not impressed upon them that we got to be like fucking professionals here. Like, and I don't know. I think it's like there's like a humility to wanting to have done the legwork to have a good act beforehand so that you can give these people a good show or at least try your damnedest.
Right. Yeah. A lot of times these people, they hire babysitters and it's their one night out. And so, it's kind of like made me realize I need to practice like I play, because it's easy when you're in an open mic with two people, you're the last person on the bucket, everybody left, nobody's there, to just like mess, like, oh, let's try. I guess it's a balance, but trying just whatever, as opposed to like, all right, let me take this serious.
Right.
Because, what if somebody got that chance to open for Norm and they were just practicing, to two people last in the bucket.
Right. And not that Norm is necessarily going out to watch all of your set or anything, but you want to do a good job on the fucking show when you're performing, opening for a bona fide legend.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, like both to like impress them, and for your own like growth. Like, this is probably one of the like doper spots. Those are the types of shows that like are the reasons we go through so much of the bullshit.
Right. I was literally jumping up and down when I got the news. When your back's against the wall, it forces you to be better. Like when I was opening for him and you see him, he's right there. He does come in and watch. He loves comedy. So he was right there. And that adds a pressure. The booker of the club's there. There's 330 people, the owners in the audience watching you. And
how did you manage? Were you anxious? Like I would have been like melting. I like excited, but also like sweating. How did you manage that?
It gives you that little thing, like you're saying, Bret, where you feel like you have to deliver. Like you're like, all right, now I got to do it.
And you know what? It's like you've been doing this years. You're going to do great. Like,
you've done the work.
Trust that.
And it's so hard to trust that, though.
Yes, I know. I'm in an open micer mentality where it's like, oh, I'm like uncomfortable asking for a spot, or if they say, oh yeah, email me. There are times when I never emailed because I like, what the hell? There's like a mindset situation that goes into comedy as well as the writing thing. It's like, you deserve that spot. You deserve to open with Norm.
Totally. That it's really hard to feel like you belong. And like, cause but like, dude, you do like, both Amy too. It's that dude being both people on the show, but like, and you just, cause you can internalize your circumstances sometimes. And that's actually why I went and shot at the fucking special, is I was like, you know what? I don't need to internalize. Like, I would have to wait so long for anyone to allow me to make a special. I'll just go make one myself because I have an hour I'm really proud of, and I have this idea for a show. And I'm not going to internalize the fact that there are some people who run trendy bar shows who won't return my Facebook messages because they don't matter. And like, you kind of have a confidence of like, I know what it's like to kill on the road in so many random cities for an hour. So great. I can't do 10 minutes on Flagabooty, the fucking weekly show that everyone hangs out at that has more comics than audience members.
Right. Yeah. No, it's hard to be accepted in these cliques.
Oh, yeah.
And then you go, why do I even want that? I wanted, when I fell in love with stand-up, my dream was to be a professional stand-up. My dream wasn't to be in the cool kids club. I didn't even know that existed. So why would I? And I like when I could get over caring about being one of the cool scenesters. That was really helpful for me for actually like really developing my act and what I thought was fun to say on stage.
I love that. It's so important to like do what you want to do and like do it for the love instead of getting caught up in these like cliques.
Yeah, and like, oh, I gotta have, please take a photo of me on stage so I can.
Because a lot of times it's like a person is great, but it's like that what's that called? Like not join the bandwagon, but there's certain shows when it's like everybody knows each other and they all give each other the like that kind of laugh, but they won't give it to you, and then you internalize, do I suck, am I terrible? And it's like, no, you're great, you're just not part of the mob mentality of like you got to think for yourself and trust your art, and then you know people will catch on like a snowball. Do
you remember what forced you to get on stage? What made you? Was there a joke where you're like, I just gotta try this, or did you just go up there? What was
I don't know what it was for you guys. For me, it's just like I loved comedy my whole life. I love stand-up, and you know, I remember being the first time I went on stage. I was 19. I was in LA. I was interning on the Conan's show, which is now actually being taken off. He's retiring with TBS. He's going to HBO, but yeah, I was just 19, and I don't know. I remember doing a bit about Miss Frizzle from Magic School Bus. So that was my internal story that I had to share with the world. Was something about like, you know, how the fuck did she get these trips approved by the school board or something? I mean, it was truly just genius stuff.
Oh my God.
How about either of you guys? Was there a first joke where you're like, I'm going to do it? Or what was the origin?
I was working at a, oh, go ahead. Do you want to go ahead?
No, you go.
Ladies first, Dom. You fucking mansplaining piece of shit.
Yeah. Amy, a joke is, some guys are like that.
Oh God. But yeah, no, for me, right out of high school, I went to an acting conservatory and I was reading the scripts of serious stuff, and I like wanted to rewrite it. You know, my acting teachers were like so mad. They were like, "Are you kidding? That is Arthur Miller. You're terrible." You know, I was like, I wouldn't say this. And anyway, they had improv as an elective, and that's where I was myself. And then so I was like, all right, well, what else to comedy? I mean, I watched the, you know, Comedy Central and HBO stand-up since I was a kid. I probably shouldn't have been watching that at like 7 years old. George Carlin on HBO. Not sure why, but I did. And so I just started doing it that way. And then I found that the part of me that I was embarrassed about, like being weird or dorky or something, that's the part that I could embrace in comedy. So it was kind of like an Avenger stone. Like it was a piece of me. Once I found that stand-up Avenger stone, it became like part of my values. Like, oh shit, like it clicked. Who I am clicked a little. Anyway.
That's really awesome that you felt like this part of your self-expression now had a format.
Yeah.
where it was welcome.
Nice. And it was, instead of a negative thing, I saw it as a good thing. Like, oh yeah, that's great. Let's write about it instead of hiding or being embarrassed or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's your steroid too, you know. I know when I first started, it was I was working at a car wash, and this guy came in, just kind of moved back from LA, and was like, you know, I was a stand-up for 30 years, and he's like, hey, you're really funny. Yeah, he told me this. He goes, these things that you're telling me, you know, have you tried stand-up? Is this your act, what you're doing on me? You could tell me I'm a comedian too. And I was like, no, because I didn't think stand-up was a real thing. I used to always do it since I was 5 at a wedding. They'd say, "Hey, Donnie's gonna do stand up," and I'd go up. There's tapes of me, and I'd imitate Steve Urkel and stuff for real. And
can we see whenever you get a chance, please post those. I would love to see them.
Yeah, I need to.
Yeah.
At weddings and birthdays all the time. I remember I'd be doing these impressions. Terminator, Stallone.
Dom was 7 years old working the Chitlin circuit.
Working the Chitlins. I was. And then I always did it. Like I always did it. In high school camping, they'd be like, "Hey Dom, do stand up." I got known for it. The bus, 4th grade, everything. And then when I was about 18, my girlfriend's like, "Hey, come do a comedy show." I didn't even really know there was any around the neighborhood. So we drove like 45 minutes to this club, and we went. She had free tickets all summer, and we'd go and watch. And I called the guy and said, "Hey, my friends I do stand up for them all the time. I want to try it." And he goes, "Oh, you got to be on TV to be a comedian. You can't do it." So I never tried again. And then cut to 4 or 5 years later. 4 years later, I'm 22 working at a car wash, and this guy's telling me this. So I told him, I said, "Nah, man, I tried it, but you got to be on TV and stuff." Then he tells me, "Nah, man, I did this shit for 30 years. He's like, "Call this number." And I called, and it was this club, Hilarities, in Akron. And he goes, "Tell this guy you're friends with me and you want to do the amateur contest." And saying I did it, and I went, and 5 of my friends you had to bring to watch you. And they watched me.
Bringer shows.
They didn't even know when to laugh. I had no clue what I was doing. I was like, I was not a stand-up at all. The whole time, at 5 minutes, all you hear is, that's it. At the end of the tape, that's how much laugh I got. And to be honest with you, I think it was a girl talking to his wife. I don't even think it had anything to do with me. And I get off stage thinking I killed. I'm all like, "Oh, I killed it. I really thought I did great." I had like laugh ears forever. Like, I'd get off stage smiling. People would be like, "It's all right, man. You'll get it." And I'd be thinking I did good.
Oh.
It took me till watching these tapes now to be like, "Oh, God." Like, I had a headlining set I got myself booked for at an improv show. All my friends watched me, and I told them, "Hey, just make noise as loud as you could so I can get booked somewhere." I got booked to headline. And I still have the tape.
Bands.
Yeah, I still have the tape. There's an area for like 35 minutes where I didn't even get one laugh. I'm surprised the whole audience didn't get up and leave.
That's the funny thing, bro. I have headlined a room, bombed for 45.
When they hate you, that's a long 45.
And they hate you, and I'm doing my fucking time. And it's funny when it's bombing for 8-10. You're like, that ain't nothing.
Yeah, 45's a hard bomb, man.
After so many minutes, it probably became fun, right? It's like if you're bombing for 20, it's like, let's just go lean into the bombing.
I learned a valuable mistake once about bringing openers. I used to think, "Oh, well, if I can't carry the show, they could do more time and still make it a good show." So one of my early on headlining gigs, I booked Suba Argyle to open for me. And she destroyed for 30 minutes. Every 2 seconds, she got a killer laugh. And then I had to go up, and it was like, oh, God. Like,
That's how you get better, though, man. Bring good people.
That is so true.
Yeah. Now I do. I want the killer because honestly, you get to ride that wave. You get to earn confidence in the crowd.
No, totally. Plus, it makes you better. It's like,
it makes you better.
Quote unquote hero who follows someone who, maybe isn't as there. It's like, no, bring someone who's fucking great.
Right. And that's a problem a lot of good openers have when they hit a certain position. If you don't start opening for somebody early on, they don't want you. I know I've asked a couple of openers, then they actually told me, now not to toot my own horn, but they said, "Nah, man, you need to go out and headline, man. You're ready. You got to build your own audience." And even as far as Norm said I could open for him, and he was cool with it, but he's like, you could go out. I seen you. He's like, all you really need is an extra 10 minutes and 15 minutes. He said, you should start building up your fans. You don't need to be working under somebody.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
you should have said, "Norm, I'd like to headline tonight, if you don't mind."
Let me switch with you right now.
Right.
And that could have been his humble way of saying, "Hey, I don't I don't want to, but I don't know. He did say I could open for him, and then the pandemic hit. I was supposed to open for him somewhere for the first time, like on the road. But he's so hard to get a hold of, man, and he's not tech smart. You got to get in with his girlfriend. Handles all his shit. He don't even know how to operate his phone. Really. He's like, what is this?
That's funny. We forget he's an older guy.
Yeah,
but he can spend that time writing instead of on social media.
Yeah, Amy, he's not worried about SEO like us.
Right.
I'll be honest with you. I think he does spend that time writing too. He does write a lot. Yeah, he ain't worried about SEO at all. His wife sold his house without him knowing. He got divorced, and his wife sold everything and kept all the money.
Oh, it's so terrible.
What he was saying basically is, or I guess what I'm saying is, when you meet Norm, he's such a nice guy. He's easy to take advantage of, and people don't really acknowledge that, I think. And I think a lot of people probably took advantage of him coming up early, because he made a lot of money. And he told me now he thinks it's messed up. He's like, should that even be allowed? He's like, let's just say I'm a normal guy and I don't pay attention to houses or finances. And he's like, should that be allowed? He's like, because I'd be a millionaire. That house sold for like $15 million. It was a mansion in LA. And he's like, right now I'm kind of working, trying to make ends meet.
Why was she able to take it? Like, did he
when they got married without him knowing, she bought like 6 houses. And then she just sat on them with his money.
Shit.
And then she sold them. I was trying to find the details because I don't want to quote how many houses it is. But basically, I know the idea is right now he would be set for the rest of his life if she was just honest with him. That's all that would have took. And what he says is, he's like, what I don't get is I gave her a great life and all of my money and everything she's ever wanted. Why would she have to take everything from me like that? I wasn't mean to her.
I don't understand how, I guess marriage, they can do that?
I guess so. He put a few things on here. Norm MacDonald on his battle axe wife.
Darn.
Please support my channel on Patreon. Yeah, he does talk about it.
Oh my God.
Why would you never want to be the divorced person that takes everything? I don't know. I just think that's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, when
people are shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he cheat on her? Maybe she had revenge.
I mean, there's always that, I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
Well, cheat or no cheat, there are ways of doing things more responsibly as adults. But hey.
I mean, she's the Heather Mills of comedy. Like Heather Mills, Paul McCartney's second wife. And she just really dragged Sir Paul through.
She did?
Yeah.
I hate her.
And she accused him of stuff that wasn't true. And
who is that Paul? Sarah Paul?
Oh, Sir Paul McCartney, the Beatle.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just so sad because his first wife, Linda, oh my God. So I always think, get yourself a guy that treats you like Paul McCartney to Linda. So she could play piano before. She was very successful photographer, but he fell in love with Linda and was like, you want to be in my band? Let's form Wings. And so she don't quote me, but I believe it was like basic piano skills. And he just had Linda in because he wanted to take her on the road with him. And that's just awesome.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
That is what I want to do with my girlfriend, and then we broke up.
Oh, did you have a quarantine breakup?
I actually did, yeah.
Me too. Oh my God.
Hey,
yes.
It feels good though. It's cleansing. It's like you realize, at least for me personally, like the person I was with, first off, they changed, and second off,
they changed in quarantine.
Just kind of generally. And they said a lot of mean things that were, a person who's just like, I'm mean, but I'm honest. And then you're like, well, you're not the arbiter of truth. But hey, water under the bridge. I have nothing but warm indifference for the person.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
you're
was
better
thinking
off.
about that. Like when you're in a relationship and you have mutual friends, it's like they go to the friends and say stuff, and then and it's like I think people should know if someone is ranting about the relationship, never totally believe like there's three truths. There's their side, the other person's side, and then there's what really happened.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah, and it's like it's somewhere in the middle.
Why can't people just keep their mouth shut? It's like you shared something and that's it. New stuff. Like people got to blab their mouth,
Did this individual blabbed or something, huh?
Oh, well, for one of my exes did, and we had mutual friends, and it was just like they're telling their dramatic story and it's like not how it happened. But, some people they see rose lenses. But for this breakup, I believe I'm able to keep it nice and neutral.
Yeah.
Today's debatable topic is, let's see, do you guys prefer the question, what is a weird food combo that only you eat, or what's the most WTF gift you've ever received? The first one or the second one?
WTF, yeah.
WTF gift is kind of fun, right?
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So, guys, Bret, you're the guest, so you go first. What is the most WTF gift you've ever received?
I've had a few that are, I'll say this one because it's kind of fun. It's not necessarily like, what the fuck, but it is just like, damn, why? So, background, my dad is a conservative gentleman, great heart. And I feel like you always have to say that because people just hear conservative and they go, he's evil.
Right.
No, truly a great human. And then my aunt is a very liberal person, Republican, Democrat, that whole thing, right? So they always jab jaws and they always argue about politics. One Christmas, I was at the ripe age of about 10 years old, and my aunt got me for Christmas An Inconvenient Truth on DVD. I'm a fucking 10-year-old. That doesn't mean anything to me. She was just using the gift for a 10-year-old to poke her thumb into my dad's eye because she knew it would annoy him. And in retrospect, I'm like, what the fuck, man? You took advantage of a child's joy just to go,
yeah.
That's my gift.
That's great. It's like this adult like emotion of wanting to stick it to your dad. And this kid was the one who paid for it. That's funny.
Sweet boy. Yeah. How about you, Tom?
I had a fan actually track down my address and tell me that she paid the extra money and for me not to be freaked out. I didn't even know people could do this. But she found my address down to my apartment number, and she mailed me funny enough, a hairbrush and teeth whitener. Yeah, that's when I was dating that girl. You guys know my ex. I don't know if you guys know her from the show. And the hairbrush was for her. How weird is that? She's like, here's teeth whitener for you and a hairbrush for your girlfriend. I used to keep my hair really short. Is that crazy or what?
So this was a couple gift,
this was a fan, yeah. And then she
could
sent
you
me
just gift us the gift certificate to the Olive Garden? It's hard to say, but one of my most WTF gifts, I'd have to say, would be a tie between just getting body soap for my one birthday. Like one birthday, all I got was body soap. I'm like, do people think I smell? But for girls, that when you're 9, like you get this fun bubble bath and like grass scented bubble bath or whatever. So that was kind of whatever. But yeah, one was like after my appendix exploded, someone sent me these stale cookies. Mm-hmm. And it was sad because I couldn't eat them. It was kind of like giving someone who just got their teeth pulled out like a T-bone. Like my stomach was ruined. I could not eat these cookies, but it was the thought that counts. I felt terrible for being offended. I'm like, it was a gift, right? You guys think like any gift, you feel guilty for being offended, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
But it's like it is the thought that counts.
Cookies? No, that ain't a good. That ain't even a good thought.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna sell cookies.
It was the thought that counted that offended me. It was like, you didn't think about this at all.
Amy, you're too sweet. That's a shitty gift.
From the pharmacy.
Yo, seriously. CVS, guys, come on. Okay, so guys, check out Bret's special. Oh my, I love this. This is so classy. Look, did you rent this or you had this on hand?
Oh, because that's a $49 tuxedo.
What? They said $49?
I swear to God, that's a $49 tux.
That's insane. It looks good, though.
It looks great. And I love it. It has that old Hollywood feel to it.
It really does.
Well, you know what's interesting? Before the show and after the show, I have vowed every headlining show or paid show, I wear a tux from now on.
That is
I swear to God. You know why? It's because honestly, I think like, you know what? I'm going to go that extra mile for the crowd. I'm going to be a little uncomfortable, put on something that's not comfortable. It looks goofier. It's funny for the first 20 seconds, and then it won't matter because like if your jokes stink, who cares? But I'm like, you know, time to bring back a little bit of that showbiz panache.
I love that.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. People would get so dolled up and excited to go out, and then somewhere it's like T-shirts ripped, and you know, it's style rocker in itself, but I just think there's something so special about like pizzazzing it up a bit. And then this OnlyFans, Bret, this is hilarious.
Hey, you know, I got people out there. I got the most wholesome OnlyFans on earth. And I tell people you can see my prudes and not my nudes. It's just really heartwarming stuff if you subscribe. It's behind a paywall.
Oh my God. Honestly, I think that people will, I mean, this is great. People would want this.
You know, you know, we got to get the megaphone out there. This is my goal is to become the #1 OnlyFans model. And the photos, you know, give you a little peek behind the curtain. It's usually me making coffee or maybe me cooking some rice or just really heartwarming stuff.
You know, I always think if they're, that's brilliant. I think you're going to get like successful. Like that is going to be successful. I always think if there was a strip club for women, it would be men just like giving compliments and like, good job. You look great. Like we wouldn't want to see a body like some like it's all not organized properly. Whoever invented like strip clubs for a woman, like we don't want it. Like that's funny. It's novelty. A guy dancing to YMCA in a cheetah thong or whatever. But like,
whoa, don't get me too turned on.
But if they really wanted to make money, a strip club for women should be like Men and Mr. Roger Cardigan. Like you're great. You're doing, keep going, you know? Oh my God.
That's very funny.
And then, so you have also this Bret Trade thing. You are a genius. Like you got some great ideas.
Hey, I'm a schemer. I like boondoggles. I like harebrained schemes. If you know the show Better Call Saul, or if you know the show Breaking Bad, I've never identified more with a character than Saul Goodman. I am a schemer, a hustler, and a stand-up con.
You know, I always loved I Love Lucy because Lucy Ball always has a harebrained idea. And that's me with my friends too. I'm like, yo, guys, let's this idea. And then, you know, sometimes gets us into some sticky situations. But yeah, this is hilarious. So
check it out. Exactly.
Guys,
Bret Trade.
So here's what it is. So BretTrade.com is a website. I actually isn't technically like public yet, but
sorry.
It is to you guys. Like it is to. I'm happy it's on it. No, you can show it however you want.
Okay.
BretTrade.com is a website I launched. It is a trading platform where people will be able to go online to buy and sell shares of Bretcoin. That's right, Dom. You're looking at the world's first publicly traded comedian. That's right. We're going to market with, we're doing an IBO, an initial Bret offering of 100,000 shares valued at 50 cents a share, putting my market cap at $50,000, which is a steal.
It is.
You know, I'm trying to fund a movie I want to make, and this is one way to do it. I tell you what, if this is people go, what do I get when I buy a Bretcoin? Here's what you get. First off, valued shareholders laugh free. That means if I'm doing a show in your area, you get to come for free. Second off, I'm going to be issuing an annual dividend to all my shareholders. It would probably be like 5% dividend of my earnings, which are, I don't know. We'll have to see. I think it's going to be a great year. And
I think that's
smart, man.
Yeah.
Now, what if somebody buys 51%? Can they say, "Hey, go pick that up"?
Yeah. I tell you what. If you're a majority shareholder, you can direct me what to do. And here's the thing, though. It's built into the it's built in that the price will respond to market activity. So I tell people, listen, I'm only going up from here. This is the ground floor / rock bottom. So you might as well buy in because I ain't going anywhere. Put your money where my mouth is and invest.
That's great.
Nice.
Oh my God.
But go online. You can launch an account. You can buy shares right now. Do it. Buy $2 worth. Buy 50 cents.
Nice. That is cool, man.
Yeah. It's so creative too. Like no one's doing this. So that's awesome.
That's very sweet of you to say. And me and my buddy, if you guys want to, there are stock tickers, right? For a stock. Oh, their stock. Google stock is like a GGL or something like that. Mm-hmm. My stock ticker is Enron. And I don't know if you know who Enron is, but that's the company from the early 2000s that had a financial scandal. And my stock ticker is Enron. And if people want to know why it's Enron, well, I tell them I developed this platform with my buddy Ron, and he's super trustworthy. So,
nice.
Boondoggles, my friend.
Oh my God!
Get your Bret stocks.
Yeah, and everybody check out Bret's special out today, November 23rd. I can't wait.
Yeah.
We'll put the link in the description.
Yeah, throw a subscribe or a like or a comment. I know it's lame to say it, but we are all slaves to the algorithm.
Seriously, that's the best gift anybody could give a comic right now. Just please share, like right. I don't even want money. I just want you guys to like my stuff.
Like me.
That's what I wanted to ask.
Choose me.
So it's on YouTube. I didn't look at the I know you were dropping it today, but I didn't pull it up. Now, is there anything that you have to pay? Is it like a $3.99 thing, or is it free on YouTube?
It's free. I had a couple offers to go with some distributors, and I turned them down because I wanted to own it, and I figured I would do a better job promoting it than any of these distributors were. I didn't want it behind a paywall because I'm not a established name. My thing is I think if people will see it, they're gonna like it. So let's just make it as maximum accessible to be viewed as possible and put it up for free. Yeah. This isn't where I'm cashing in. This is about and make no mistake, I've said it and I believe it. I think I'm the least successful comedian ever to release an hour special.
No.
I swear to God.
You know something? Bill Burr said this. I just heard him say this on a podcast. It was an older podcast, but he was talking about how it changed. And he goes, back in the day, people wanted to wait 20 years and put out their best joke, or 15 years. That's why it's called a comedy special. It's like, this is special. But he's like, now times change. You can't do that. You'll be forgotten about. He said, now your comedy special is your way of advertising yourself. Now comedy special is more of a commercial. Like, hey, buy into this. You know, I'm going to have my next special coming out. You don't just live off one special now. You got to stay relevant.
True. I think it started with like Louis C.K. Sorry, guys, to bring up Louis. I know he's like don't mention his name. But in terms of the business, he started. Remember, he did he released it himself too, and it was pay what you can. And next thing you know, he was doing a special every year, and then it raised the game for everybody.
Yeah, Louis did change the game in many ways. He, self-released it. I mean, his was, and he had a fan base and stuff. I have a small modicum of following built up from doing road shows for several years. But he definitely upped the game to show a black belt level of stand-up, which was doing a new great hour every year. That's impressive.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
all right. Yes. All right. Thank you, Bret, for joining us. We'll put the links to him and watch his special, please. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon, Planet Earth.
Subscribe to the
check it
YouTube,
out
y'all.
on YouTube, man. It is great. I was watching a couple things on there.
Oh,
so.
thanks, man. I just
All
launched
right,
it.
man.
So, yeah.
All
We
right.
gotta collab.
Stay in
I would love
touch.
that.
All
Bye,
right.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you again.
That's it for today, folks. Thank you for listening to GAPE-TV. Subscribe and follow. Instagram at GAPE-TV. Have a good afternoon, planet Earth.